Yes, uninstall them all, every one of them. Remove them all, and then go to Adobe.com and download the latest one, which is 10, which is X point something. I think it's what, 10.2 or something, or 10.3. And download the free version. Yes. Adobe.com. Yeah, just go to Add New Programs. If it's XP, in Windows 7, you go to Control Panel, and it's with its programs and features. And then you remove them. Which is something we should, or you can download Glary, go to the batch uninstall, and remove them. Now, where do we want context menu manager? This is interesting. All right. When you go into File Explorer, not Internet Explorer, File Explorer, and you're looking at a file, an individual file, and you right-click, and you get a little menu. How would you like to edit that? This is where you can remove. This is the context menu manager. When programs install, then what you could do is literally, if you don't like certain menu options coming up, this is where you can get rid of them. Now, it's complicated to add one. So let's say send to. So if I have a file, and I right-click, and then I right-click send to, here I can have mail recipient, fax recipient, desktop. If I unchecked mail recipient, what would happen is that wouldn't appear when I right-click. So it's a way to edit that menu. Just, one of those utilities, if you have some annoyances, it's a way you get behind the scenes and start tweaking your desktop for performance. Is it going to hurt you to have too many menus? No. So an example is if I right-click on this file and I say send to, there's the options. And if I unclick that mail recipient, that would go away. To add it, that's an ugly thing. You got to go into documents and computers, app data, and you got to make sure you view hidden folders, and it gets a little complicated to add to that.
If you check it off to not have it show up, if you decide you want it back,
you can put it back. Yes, it still stays there.
Oh, it stays.
It stays there. Yeah.
Okay.
So if I uncheck it, click, it'll stay. So I can come back in and just click it to keep it. All right. Let's go to registry defrag. That's kind of interesting. This sometimes helps. If I click here, before I click next. All right. Registry defrag. This is the only program, well, some big registry cleaning programs has this feature. Defragging a hard drive. You can have 10 people up here. They're going to get different answers. To me, defragging the hard drive is meaningless. You're going to get no performance. It does nothing to help you. Go ahead, do it. It's not going to help you. Defragging the registry, if you just clean the registry and it removed hundreds of entries, you could defrag it, because what it'll do, defragging the registry, it's like any database. If the database is this big and you're searching for something and there's pieces missing, it's going to take a long time to go through a database this big than a database this big. Once you delete all those entries, the database is still big. You have to defrag it in order to get rid of those bad entries. They're not totally gone. So that's the best way to reduce fragmentation, correct errors, and recover unused memory space. This can gain you little fragments of CPU usage. Is it going to turn your computer and turn back the clock and make it faster? No, it's just a little bit. But all these things add up. The two biggest things that we talked about today that are going to make the difference is the spyware and stopping those programs from auto-starting. I tell you, if you go home and you run msconfig and you uncheck just some of those programs, you're going to reboot your computer and you are going to think you have a new computer. I'm telling you. I can't tell you how many clients and how many people have said, oh my God, what did you do? I was only there for like a couple minutes and the computer's like brand new. They said, it's so fast. That's because they had 35 things I unchecked. All the junk from all of the accumulation of all the software, all the drivers, all the utilities over time. If you stop the ones that you don't need to start every time you're rebooting your computer, it makes a big difference in performance.
Where can we get a better understanding of what those programs that are startups,
Yes.
what they are, and what they do?
Well, here's what you need to do. When you open up, let's go back there, and you have to find out what is the program that's loading. So it's not so much, let's go back, trying to think of what the best way to answer this. If you go to startup, and you go to the command, and you spread that out, and you take a look at the program, you really need to keep moving the bar over and keep opening the command. You got to get to the program that's running. And that's where you got to take a look. And you got to see where is it starting and in what directory, like syncback. We didn't talk about that yet, but that syncback.exe program right there, I want that to start because that's my backup software. So I know syncback. But I don't know the synoptics. Common sense tells me it's my touchpad. But if you don't know it and you start Googling synoptics and that program, it's going to tell you. You're going to eventually get to the synoptics website or a forum or somebody that's going to tell you what that program is. So that's how you're going to have to do some investigation and some research before you should start unchecking it. Unless it's obvious. If it's Adobe, uncheck it. QuickTime, uncheck it. iTunes, uncheck it. There's lots of Quicken and QuickBooks and reminders and uncheck it. All these things are taking up your CPU. All right. Privacy. Here we go. Like this. File shredder. File shredder is where you can actually add a file or a folder, and it shreds it to where you can't get it back. And then there's wiping the free space here. After you do some major deletes, you could actually run this. This will take a very long time, and it's going to wipe the free space so no one can undelete those files. So remember, you do this. This is an unrevocable action. You can't undo this. So do that with caution. All right. File and delete. I like this. I'm not gonna search this now, but right now, if you hit the file on delete, this is a good place to start if you delete a file and you download the Glary utilities. This will take you through, and any files you undelete, you might be able to get them back. So everybody always asks me, what's a good undelete program? I begin here, and then I realize I have another program that I didn't put in our list called Restoration. So just the word Restoration, it's a standalone utility that will allow you to restore files. But that's one of those utilities you got to be careful too, because people who are writing spyware know the common things that you're searching for. This is how you get in trouble. Google does their best to eliminate those bad websites, but they can't keep up with it. So what happens, you have to be very careful on the top hits when you search Google, and you're looking for, I can't print. And you take a look and you search. The bad guys know that a lot of people are saying, I can't print. And so they put utilities out there that you download thinking that it's going to fix your printer problem, and guess what? It doesn't fix it at all. It infects you. That's how people get infected. No matter how safe you are, it's like a war zone out there. I just thought of something. This is a bonus for everybody attending versus anybody who just went to my website looking for the links. How many know about this site on Microsoft? And notice I went to Internet Explorer. R-O-S-O-F, Microsoft.com/fixit. This. If you haven't heard of this, this is the coolest website, Microsoft. Microsoft, they do a lot, everybody complains they do a lot of bad things. Let me tell you, this is something they got right. Because if you want to fix a problem, and you don't want to get into really, like some of those fixes where it says edit the registry and go do this, and you're afraid, start out by answering these questions for the Solution Center. You can look for all problems. Is it a Windows problem? Is it Internet Explorer? Is it a Windows Media problem? Is it an Office problem? I use this all the time. When someone has something wrong with Office, I click that, and 9 times out of 10 the fix is there, and it's you see the problem that you're having, and then there's a big button that says, would you like me to fix it now? And you fix it. That's it. It fixes it. And it's from Microsoft site. You can trust it. So, how many knew this? Wow, great, love it. That's it. Let me tell you, that's something you write down. Microsoft.com/fixit. And use Internet Explorer to go there. Because a lot of the fixes, they're, let's face it, it's Microsoft, and they want you to have Internet Explorer in order to apply the fix. So that's a good help. I would assume that because you're sitting here, that you are a person that people come to for questions. Because you probably have more knowledge than a lot of other people around you. Family, friends, neighbors, I don't know. But this is a place that you can send people for quick fixes. If the fix is there. Anyway, just made me think of that while I was talking.
There's final restoration site that you said.
Yes, restoration.
There's so many, you gotta worry about.
Let's see. See, here's the list of utilities. If you go to MikeTechShow.com. Oh, plug from Mike. Okay. It's a labor of love that I do. How many buy from Amazon in here?
Yep.
Next time you buy, go to my website, click on that link, and then make your purchase. The price is the same, but I get a commission, and that's what supports the show. So anyway, that's why the place is big and it's there. All right. So now, and you know what? It's 4%. But think about that. I know there's people that spend thousands of dollars. And 4% adds up. Even if you spend $1 item, that's 4 cents that I wouldn't have had. All right, all the utilities, and then we'll steal my thunder. Some of the utilities coming up. Okay, that we're going to talk about. But let's Google restoration. Now let's see. It's not hardware. Restoration utility. Yep. I don't go to the download. Did you see what I did? I didn't go to the download because that sometimes is not the real site. So I'll stop. And restoration, okay, I do trust CNET. So we take a look there and we see it at CNET. So I'll go there. I trust CNET, and I trust another website that you may not be familiar with, and it's a great site for free programs. It's called FileHippo, and I trust FileHippo. So we trust CNET, and we trust FileHippo. Sites that you know if you're downloading it, you're not going to be infected, or at least a good chance. So there's a free program, and you see it's highly rated for recovery. And it's free. We like free. Okay. So now, we got file and delete file. Trax Eraser. You know what? We're not going to run that yet, but I actually like on CCleaner. Let's go to files. Empty folders finder. I don't like deleting empty folders. Just because the folder's empty, do not think that it's not important, because there was a project that I was working on with a company, and a good friend of mine who's another consultant, we wrote a utility to copy all the files, but we didn't copy the empty folders. And the next day, on the server, the company needed those empty folders because they were folders where their faxes would be delivered. Well, of course, there was no files in there. So there was like 20 empty folders that never got copied, and none of their faxes could come in. And the way we figured is, oh my gosh, we didn't copy the empty folders. So I don't like utilities that delete empty folders because I think some empty folders are important. So, but you have to get bit to know that. So, just because the utility's here does not mean you should run it. Okay? There was, go ahead.
Suppose I create a new folder.
Oh, okay, yeah. And you know you want to delete it. That's the
And if I don't have anything in it.
that you can delete it. But the folder, I'm saying empty folders that might have been created by programs. And that program may need that empty folder. If you created it, yes, go right ahead and delete it. But I'm just saying, and I'm going to give a caveat. How many know of the Philadelphia Area Computer Society? That's the PAX. They meet on the third Saturday of every month. I'm actually hosting what you're hearing right now, a Windows Tips and Tricks SIG. It's a new special interest group that's going to be meeting, and I'm running the group. So I'll be talking every month there. I gave a lecture in March talking about utilities, and I had my business card, which I'll offer up to anybody who needs consulting services at the end. The person called me, and 2 minutes into the conversation, I realized this person should not be using this utility. And it's a utility I talked about. So, and I just thought of something right now that I want to make sure. Just because I'm discussing it does not mean you should have to run it, and that you need to run it. Like, why run restoration if you didn't delete a file that you need to retrieve? Why run Crystal Disk Info? Well, Crystal Disk Info you can run and it's not going to get you into trouble. But some of these programs can really, if you don't have a problem and they're used incorrectly, can inflict more harm than good. So I kind of have to put that out there, that if you're not having a problem, great, keep going and just don't do anything. You bring these things up if you're having a problem. If your computer is slow. When you bring up that MS-config program, if you don't know it, leave it checked. Only if you know, uncheck it. So these are some of the warnings I want to put out there. All right. File joiner and splitter. Great little utility if you need to break programs up into multiple files. Now, let's say you had a big program and you needed to break it up onto a DVD. And DVDs are 4.7 gig. I've had to do this, where I've had a 15 gig file that I wanted to break up into multiple DVDs. Well, I was able to bring up the file in here, browse to it, pick that, have it, split it into multiple files, burned each of the files, and then send it to the person I needed to do. They could use that program and they could join them together. So, you never know when you need that, but when you need it, you need it to break up files. Another example. We didn't talk about this, but Jungle Disk is an online backup service that can only handle files 4.3 gig or smaller in the transmission. So I had to get a program such as this to break down a couple big files for a client before they're backed up to the cloud, to the Jungle Disk service. See, that's how, I only ran into these programs because they were a solution for either a listener or a client, and that's how I came across these things. System tools. Here we go. Process Manager. This is a little better than the Task Manager. It gives you a little better view of what's running. So it's sort of Task Manager Plus. And you can quickly, I think it identifies itself better, so you can see that is Java Update Scheduler, which really I don't want running because I don't care about Java auto updating. And it's just going to run in the background. All right. let's go to CCleaner. It's a utility that's very similar to Glary, but there are some things that I like about this. I like, for example, hold on, let's go to uninstall startup. Let's go startup. Their startup here is a little better. Notice they're giving me more things listed than Glary, so the startup manager here is a little better. The registry cleaner, although I think Glary is better, when I go to scan for issues here and I want to fix it, notice, look, it's finding a little more now. I just said Glary's better. Look at it, it's finding stuff. One of the things CCleaner does, when I go to clean it, it's going to allow me to back up my registry. So if I say fix selected issues, do you want to back up changes to the registry? I'm going to say yes. It takes me immediately to my documents. We're going to say save it, fix all. Wow, that's very surprising. That found 266 more entries that Glary didn't find. That is very, very, very rare. I'm surprised. That means, you know what? I haven't used CCleaner in a while, and I just downloaded this. I think they're making a lot of improvements here. So, interesting. I use programs until they disappoint me. When they get to a point where the version, they just bloated it too much and they went and they now disappoint me, that's when I move on. But actually, Glary's, this is pretty good. One of the things I like about Glary here, and we're going to talk about CCleaner, sorry. Is it settings? Where is... You know what? Maybe it is just the Windows. Okay. Here, if you want to clean everything, you can check. This is where you can clean your internet history, your cookies. Cookies are not bad things. You know, you're going to hear a lot of pros and cons on cookies. Cookies are good for, there are lots of websites and things I go to where the website, yes, it leaves behind things, but there's things necessary for the next time when I go visit. You know, if you're going to Amazon and you're buying something, well, they got to keep your cart and know that it's you. So yes, they're putting cookies on your, you know, in your cache that you really need to keep. So I don't look at cookies as a bad thing. You're also going to see here recent documents run. This is a way where you can analyze and run this, where it will clean all of these extra things and kind of clean your tracks, like the option that was in Glary. But here you can be very selective and pick what you want cleaned and what you don't. All right. How much time? How long do we go to?
Except about another 10, 15 minutes.
Oh, that's it? Oh, okay. Oh, for some reason I thought it was 4. No, 3? Yeah, 3. 3? Okay. All right. Wow, finally got 15 minutes. Let me speed up. Couple things that I want to talk about. All right. I'm not going to demonstrate the programs, but resetting a password. You lock yourself out. You pick an administrator password and you forget, and you don't know. These are Linux distribution boot CDs, the image, but they contain utilities that allow you to reset a password of any operating system. So if you want to reset the admin password because you can't get in, I need to get in this to work on people's computers. They give me a laptop or something, they forgot a password, they can't get in, then I use my, in my bag right here, there's the PC login now. And then a listener, let's go back. A listener told me about Trinity. I hadn't heard of the Trinity rescue kit. So I learned that. So that's a great thing. That's what I like about my show. I don't know everything. It's impossible. But I accumulate a lot because I have a lot of listeners that share a lot of email. And I go through recommendations on what listeners and other people are using and talking about. And that's what's great. But a listener contributed these. Okay. It says XP. XP. I love this. You can keep your Miro, you can keep your Roxio. When I get a new computer or any system, this is one of the first programs I download, CD Burner XP. It is a free CD and DVD. Bad name. Don't look at the name. It says CD and XP in it, yet it does DVDs and it works with Vista. So they called it years ago CD Burner XP. They've never changed the name, and it is a great program. So, now, how many have not heard of VLC? Oh boy, this is your new program for... How many times have you ran into an audio or movie file and it wouldn't play? You have to download codecs. You have to go through all kinds of hoops in order to play the file. Nope. Go to this program, videoland.org/VLC. Remember the links on my website. Download it, and it's for every operating system. I have this on my Mac. I run it on my Ubuntu Linux. I run it on XP. I run it on Windows 7. They have a version for every operating system ever invented. And it is tremendous. And this has played files that I had searched and searched to figure out how to play it and couldn't. I load this, it played it right up. So you will love that program, VLC. These are my great apps that if you didn't know about, you know, that paid for the price of admission to that. No, it's not a converter. It's not a converter. It is a player. Now, if you want to convert, that's a different ballgame. If you want to convert audio, the best program ever invented, it's called DB PowerAmp. And I use that because I got to use it every week to convert the audio format of my show. My show is saved in a WAV format, but that's too big. I can't upload that for everybody to download, so I convert it to an MP3. But I want to maintain as much quality as possible. DB PowerAmp is the best program. I think it's like 90 days for free, and then you got to buy it. It's the best money I've ever spent. And it's like $39 or something. I love it. But converting video is an art. It depends what you want to convert from and to, and then be prepared for sucking up all the CPU and memory, and what do you want to convert and how big is it, okay? That's where some pain and suffering comes in converting video. Audio's easy. Video's a different animal. All right, we'll get into backups. Backups, there's two types of backups, file-based and image-based. File-based, it's just going to back up my data files, my Word documents, my Excel documents, my PowerPoint documents. Image is going to grab the entire hard drive, the entire operating system, all of the programs. People had seen this before, say, oh, you added something, like. Two programs I recommend. SyncBack is my favorite. It's a little bit tough to, it's not tough, but it takes a little effort in configuring because you have to, you know, sit and you have to know where your files are located. So where are my files really located? You need to know so you can point to the path. It's not going to find them. Well, FAD's auto backup, it was kind of cool. I talked about this on my last show, and the author actually contacted me. So, thank you for talking about it. A lot of listeners recommended this. This program actually will find the files that you want. It knows where the Chrome settings are, Firefox settings are buried, Internet Explorer. It will take you through your documents, and you just check. I want my documents, I want my videos, it's very easy, very menu-driven, and very simple to use. So I've added it to my backup discussion. And it's FAD's auto backup. Oh, remember, the links are, you don't have to write it down. If you go to MikeTexshow.com, the links are all there. All right. CloneZilla Drive Image XML. If you are doing an image of your system, you can build, if you want to back up your computer from an image and back up the image, there are free programs out here drive, plug it in, boot up from the CD, it backs up your hard drive. But you've got to build those CDs. So you've got some effort here. So, this is very important. How many are using Windows 7 right now? Oh, awesome. We're going to talk about it. Yeah. Yeah. Now, how many are using XP? XP only. Okay. All right. If you have XP, I'm going to give you a great tip, and you may already know this. You have a Acronis. You don't need to buy the latest backup program. Acronis. If you buy Acronis 11 and 12, forget it. It's XP. Acronis keeps coming out with new versions because there's new operating systems. XP's old. Go get the 2009 edition for $5 on Amazon or Newegg. Why buy the 2012 version of Acronis when the 2009 version does a great job of an XP? And they're selling brand new for, I know it's under $10.
Each time I see it, Acronis download, don't fill it.
We don't. Well, do you have XP? Yeah. Why? They're only fixing things for Windows 7. They're not fixing things for XP. You got it. You're backing up XP. Does that make sense? You know, you wouldn't think that. You're like, wow. But you could buy new shrink-wrapped original CDs. I bought my Acronis for $8. I talked about this at the Princeton User Group meeting. $8 for the bootable CD that I keep in my bag that I can take to any system and just boom, do an image. So now I look at what the price of my time to go build the Clonezilla that may take me 2 days to build it. $8 is looking pretty good, you know? So if you want it just for the project of going through and doing it yourself, which there's merit to that, and I did that myself on the Drive Image XML, and I did that and documented it, and that was one of my shows years ago, where I went through the whole process, and it was kind of cool, and I had time. So now, you know, for an image backup, time is too important, and you know, it's why not? You know, sometimes it's worth to spend $5 or $10 on something. Oh, you know what? Now let's go forward here. So I do want to go to the website. Offsite backup. We're not going to talk about this much. I like Carbonite. There's also Crash Plan. There's a couple of really good ones. Carbonite's cheap. It's $59 for a year, and you can't go wrong for backing up into the cloud. All right. Windows 7. The minute you get Windows 7, if you've done this, great. If you haven't done this, this is your homework for tonight. When you go home, you must do the following. You must create a system repair disk. This has saved me multiple times. The links I have take you through step by step the screens on creating it. If you want to know something, it's easier than that. It doesn't get any easier. Buy a blank CD. Yes, a CD. You don't even need a DVD. And I'm going to Google repair. Or not Google. I just started typing the word repair after I clicked the start button. What's the first option? Create a system repair disk. This disk, you just put a blank in, it creates a bootable disk that's going to save you when you have a problem. So let's go to that. So if we go to that site that I put in the show notes, this is the menu that we just seen. It creates, this is what you'll see. Oh, go too fast. Hold on, let me try to, there we go. There you go, that's what it'll create. Windows 7, system recovery options. Here, if you boot, you put that disk in and boot your system, this is the menu that you're going to get. So now, we're halfway there to be able to do an image of our system, because you've got to create the disk that's going to help you recover. So before we do an image, we create this repair disk, you label it, you put it away, and if you ever run into a problem, you can actually repair your startup. This is a way to invoke a system restore. What if the system gets screwed up so bad you can't get to the option to restore you're going to be able to do that. How about doing that memory diagnostics? Here you go. There's another program. Or system image recovery. This is where you would point to the image that we're going to make. And you would point to that image, and it would restore your system. So there's two links that I have. The one is to create the repair disk. The other is to create the system, the actual system image. And this walks you right through. Back up your files, and it'll tell you where you're backing it up, like what you're backing up, and then it even asks you, hey, do you want to create a system repair disk? So this is another option, because they're telling you, this is required if you want to recover. So you can back it up, and then you can back up, if there's no external disk, you can back it up to DVDs, but it's going to take you a few DVDs to back up your whole system. Buy a cheap external drive. Use my Amazon link. Plug it into the system, and then boot up and create, by just typing the word backup, and it's literally going to take you there, create a system image. It's free, except for the disk that you got to buy to put the image on. There's no excuse. If I come back here in a few months or a year, and anybody had a problem with Windows 7 and you couldn't recover, shame on you, because this is free and it's included. And if there was ever a takeaway, look at how many times, take a look at the last couple of weeks, an earthquake and a hurricane in the same week? Are you kidding me? If there wasn't ever anything to say, back up my files, back up everything, take it as a warning. Back up your system.
Is this a one-time thing or
No,
recurring?
over and over. Do it over and over. No, you do. I would do an image a month, at least. And then, after you keep a couple, delete it all one.
Can you put an image on a USB hard drive so you can boot up the hard drive?
No, not this way. With other utilities you can. But not this, not the built-in way.
Or a flash
Who
drive?
cares? The CD. You could make, now what you could do is take the recovery CD and convert that to a bootable USB.
Okay.
Or make Windows Vista, or excuse me, Windows 7 bootable from a USB stick. And that's the Pendrive Linux site that came up before doing the Q&A. There's instructions in there that'll teach you how to make a bootable Windows operating system off a USB stick. You can do it, but not with these utilities here. You're going to have to go to other utilities to do that.
Can you do it for Vista?
Pardon me?
Can you do this with Vista?
Yes, you can.
Oh,
wait.
Get one, the first shot, and that's it.
Yeah. Vista, yeah. I mean, if you had Vista, how many have Vista? Oh, too many. Okay, here's my, I feel your pain. All right, so here's what I recommend. If you have Vista, you have the hardware to run Windows 7. Buy the upgrade. Go to Amazon and buy the OEM version of Windows 7 and get the Windows 7 Home Premium that matches yours or whatever version of Vista you have. Buy the upgrade, buy the OEM version, and go and blow your system away and put Windows, back up your data, then blow it away and while you're installing your new Windows 7, and you're going to be much, much happier.
As an aside on that, I was looking for multiple copies of the Windows 7 to upgrade, and I ended up going to Dell, even though I had an old Dell.
Oh,
right?
okay, yeah.
I went onto the Dell site, and they had the cheapest price to get a family pack upgrade version. It was like $138. But
Oh, for the 5-pack, yeah.
for the three.
Or 3-pack, okay.
Three-pack, yeah.
See, I'm still thinking 5-pack Apple.
I could have used a 5-pack, quite honestly, but the 3-pack,
That's a great idea. They called it the family pack
yeah.
for Windows. That's a great idea if you got multiple systems. If you got 3 Vista systems at home, boy, that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, Dell has it the cheapest.
That is really good. I know we've been hitting, what about any questions? Because I know we hit 3 o'clock, and believe it or not, I actually thought when I was looking at stuff, I thought we were going to 4. So, I mean, I'm here. Hold on, let me, you want to turn the lights on?
Would you show that Windows 7 image? screen again?
Go to MikeTechShow.com. That URL, you're not gonna like it. I put that URL, the chances of you writing that URL correctly are like slim and none. That's why I put the links, MikeTechShow.com. Go to MikeTechShow.com and the link's there, just click on it. And then copy and paste it, because it's too long.
I think so. I can get about 5 or 6 historical emphatic programs away. Not enough space.
There's not enough space.
Provide more space in some fashion.
You can, I mean, if you're that low in space, you should be considering a hard drive upgrade. That's too tight. You don't have enough space on your C drive.
Put in a new,
You need a drive upgrade. If you're running into that kind of thing, hard drives are too cheap. Terabyte drives are under $100, and it's just space is too cheap. Or you need to run the disk cleanup option on CCleaner. Run the disk cleanup and let it delete like a bunch of temp files and junk, and have it start cleaning up. But that's only going to buy you a little space. If you're that tight in space, you got another problem. Look for a program called TreeSize. It's called TreeSize. It's a free program, and it will give you a map of all of the space that's being used on your hard drive, and start taking a look at what is utilizing this space. Are you running Norton Security Suite? Okay, all right. That would have been one. Norton Utilities, the Norton and Symantec antivirus, I've seen take up gigs and gigs of space where you can't delete all the quarantine files and all the stuff, and it's just sucked the life out of the system. And what I do is I remove it and then go get the free Avira program I talked about, which we didn't get back to, and download it. If you're paying for antivirus, you're throwing away money. You have Avira and it's free, and I love it. And it finds viruses that Symantec would not.
I have a problem with Microsoft Word. I have a document in there